Hello, hello. Welcome. We go live every Thursday. So if you're catching the replay, just know that we go live every Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern, unless there's a holiday or something. So I just wanted to state that for anyone catching the replay. Otherwise, today we are talking lots of fun things. And I love the title. It's called Deck the Halls with Real Estate Calls because I am currently hosting a 5-day masterclass. And then, as some of you may know, I have students all over the country. And one of the biggest and like number one fears they have is getting on the phone. And it's with sellers, with agents, or just in general calling leads. And during the holidays, it is incredibly busy. Okay. So the real estate atmosphere doesn't slow down because of Thanksgiving or Christmas. In fact, it ramps up. It's some of the busiest months of the year because people are trying to do year-end things for tax purposes or what have you. And as I worked through this masterclass with these ladies, I did a whole topic on this yesterday, which was how to talk to sellers, what to say, and all of that. And then even with the students, I do the same thing. I tell them what to say, how to say, we provide scripts. At the end of the day, though, when it comes to any type of calling, not just cold calling, but calling anyone, it's going to come down to a few things. It's going to come down to your personality and the connection you bring to the phone and your introduction. So on Tuesday, my team put out a ton of posts about PDFs. So if you need the PDF from this week, go ahead and grab it because I'm not going to go through the script today, but I did provide you a mock script to use. Now, the biggest things with the mock scripts that I want you to be very aware of, though, is you have to put your own twist on it. You have to make it sound like you. If you sound like you're reading from a script, people are not going to take you seriously. Like if I were to sit here and read a script instead of just these bullet points of notes I have to make sure I stay on track, what's going to happen is you won't take them serious. You won't think they know what they're talking about. And you'll wonder what if they really are. Sellers do the same thing. So your sellers are listening to you. And if you sound smooth and you're talking to them and you're being friendly and upbeat and you don't sound like you're reading, which I've had some team members, I had to be like, you sound like you're reading. You want to really, really make sure that you take care of, and then the sellers will follow through. So today's training is really talking about that. We put a little Christmas twist on it and talking about doing that. And the biggest thing is I want to shift your mindset when it comes to cold calling, okay? Because we can finish this year strong and have an even better 2025. So this live is going to be all about shifting your mindset, getting you set up because the calls you make today are going to be the first deals you do in 2025. Like most of it, unless you already have some deals in the work, okay? So the biggest thing is when you are calling, it is not about perfection. It's about persistence. It's about talking to people. It's about hanging out with them and having conversations and having a clear connection with them. It's about hearing what they're saying in between the lines of what their surface level saying and reading through it. So when you're on the phone, it requires you to be fully engaged in listening, not focusing on doing other things or having distractions. And so when you're able to talk to them, they feel like they have your full attention, that you're listening to them and that they hear you out. Okay. So that's the number one thing. The other thing that I tell people is take no as one step closer to a yes. And I heard this quote once that said, no just means next opportunity. What this means though is you're going to hear no's. And if I can prepare you for that, then it won't be weird when you're like, I've been calling all day and all I've heard is no's or getting hung up on. Real estate is a numbers game. You have to make a lot of calls unless they are a highly targeted list or a very specific list. It's a numbers game. It's a lot of skip tracing, especially if you're cold calling. So what I tell people is when you hear the no, N-O, just think, okay, not right now. Let me move on to the next opportunity. And as I told my ladies in the masterclass yesterday, they're not rejecting you. They're rejecting the offer that you're calling about. Even if they're saying, why are you calling me? You're bothering me. It has nothing to do with that. It's the opportunity that you're given. So when you know that, you will keep moving through. You have to almost be like, just keep calling and talk to people. The next thing that I want to say, it's about having a conversation with them. And I told the ladies this yesterday, but I want to share it for those of you who are not in our masterclass. If you are getting nervous and you're not getting on the phone because of it, you are worried about the wrong things here. Real estate is a people service business and you are providing solutions, meaning that you are constantly providing solutions and you are there to help them. So when you are nervous, which is an understandable feeling, what you're doing is making this about you. You're not the one that's in the situation, they are. So instead, turn this around and make it about them. Show up for them, have conversations with them. How can you help them? Because that is what we're doing. Now, I know a lot of you are like, well, Liz, I don't even know what to say yet, or I don't have the experience. What if I don't know the answers? Normal. You're not going to know it all. I still don't know it all. I know a majority. Laura knows even more, but you will learn. But the only way you're going to learn or give you the opportunity to learn is by getting on the phone, because I can go over scripts with you all day. We can do like role playing and talking to each other, going through calls, but you're going to go on the phone and it's going to be a totally different conversation because that's a totally different person. So the best way to learn is by doing and allowing yourself to be a beginner. A lot of us don't allow ourselves to be beginners because we don't want to look dumb. We don't want to sound stupid, right? I'm using words I've heard. We don't want to do any of that. But why? How do you expect to become experienced if you do not master the craft of talking to them and being a beginner? You will fumble. Okay, you will fumble through the conversations, especially the few times, but you will get better. I use this analogy a lot because a lot of you have been following me for a really long time. My very first few lives were horrible. The very first, especially if I did it by myself, were horrible lives. And sometimes I took them down. But you know what? I consistently went live all the time. And are they good? Yes, for the most part, I feel like they're pretty informative. But every once in a while, I will have a live I feel I bombed. I will have trainings that I feel weren't my best. But that's me saying it. Because my team, on the other hand, will be like, Liz, that was the best live you've done in a while. Or Liz, that was so informative. Because my team's on right now. They will listen to some of my lives. They get on to help while I'm live. So we are our hardest critic. What I recommend doing when you're cold calling is when you're on the phone, I want you to record the conversation for your purposes only so that you can go back and listen to how you sound and critique yourself. Now, do this from a positive manner. Don't be like, oh my gosh, that was stupid. You shouldn't have said that. Just say, okay, let's reword this and say it this way next time. This is the number one tactic. I listen to a lot of my cold callers. I listen to their recordings. Okay. So I take time and I listen to the recordings every single week. It's part of my like business time. I put it on 2 times speed and I listen to what they're saying and I critique them. I'll pick random calls or calls that are like, Liz, I really struggled here, but you weren't available. Can you review this? And I'll do that and I'll review it and I'll listen and I'll give them feedback on what to say or what to do better. So for you, it's doing the same thing. So what I tell the ladies to do is before you get on the phone, we have like these set of affirmations, ladies, you know, the ones I'm talking about that are my students, that you can say to yourself before you get on the phone. And what these are, and you can create your own, are basically affirmations that pump you up, that center you and put you in a position to be on the phone. So one of the things that will happen and I did this once during a past masterclass. We were having a lot of tech issues that day and we do ours live. So we were very, very frustrated. And I started with affirmations for them, but they physically, and they commented, saw my like frantic level come down. Like my energy started calming. Affirmations do that because what will happen is before you get on the phone, you're going to hype yourself up, but not in the best way. You're going to freak yourself out. You're going to worry. Instead, bring it down. Say things that empower you. You can do this. The other thing is, though, don't think about it too long. Say the few affirmations and just start dialing. The scariest part is right before you press, the green button to call. All right. So I want you to start dialing. What will happen is you will come from a calm manner. You will feel excited because you did the affirmations. You want to be peppy on the phone. You don't want to be like freaking like, oh my God, hi, but you want to be like happy and upbeat during your conversations. You want to make them feel good talking to you. The other thing is being really, really prepared. So students, you have a very in-depth script, but I did put another type of script that's a little more shorter in the PDF that's from this week. Students, it's already on your back end. One of the things I will say is do not, and I said this at the beginning, but a lot of you have come on since, do not sound like you're reading from a script. Have your bullet points right behind or right in front of you, like behind your computer or right in front of you, and have conversations. Get on the phone and weave what I'm telling you in this PDF, weave that into your conversation. For example, you're going to be like, okay, that's great. Like they want to sell, you're in the conversation and you're going to say, fantastic. So when was the last time you updated your roof? I'm really curious about it. Oh, that's cool. You talk about the roof, how was that experience? Yeah, that makes sense. That's fantastic. How's your kitchen looking? Like you bring it in to where you're not just like interrogating them. Now, as they agree to sell, it's pretty normal that they're going to expect you're going to ask some questions about the biggest items of the house, the most cost items and all of that. And that's pretty normal. Anyone would expect that, but you want to weave it in as you have conversations. Oh, I bet you've had a lot of family dinners at the kitchen. How was that? Things like that. One question I used to ask to really find the rehab was, if I gave you an unlimited budget, what would you fix in your home? And how much you want to bet they give you the higher price items first, because they don't have the money to fix them, or they don't want to put the time into that or that kind of money into updating the kitchen. So they would say, I'd probably update the kitchen. So understanding that. Once they answer, though, then you pull up the house information. A lot of people do this backwards. They're going to do all this research and then they try to make a call and no one answers. And you spend hours and hours researching properties to call where they may not even answer the phone. So what I do is I have my tools ready. I have 3 computer screens on my desk right now. I have everything ready to go. My team, same way. Okay. So we'll have that ready to go. We'll get on the phone as we're calling. If they pick up, we have it copied and we paste it right into our prop stream, and it will pull up the address and we start talking to them. I do not do this though before I call. That is something I'm making very, very clear. You will waste a lot of time trying to get numbers and comps and all of that. Now, my students have seen this in live action. I can comp in 2 minutes or less. So I can comp on the phone. I can look up things on the phone because I'm used to doing that, but I've been doing this for 9 years. For you who are new, right? My advanced maybe are a little different, who are new, gather the information, take the notes, and say, okay, I'm going to give you a call back at when, right? Give them a specific time. Say, is that a good time or is another time works? And then no matter what, I say, try to make it same day unless it's later in the day. That will give you time. But no matter what, set 50 alarms leading up to it if you have to. Make sure you call them. It doesn't matter if an emergency came up. It doesn't matter if you're in the car. You call them, even if it's for 5 seconds. Say, hey, I didn't want you to think I forgot you, but I had an emergency, knock on wood. I'm at the hospital or whatever. I'm just knocking on wood for our sake. And I want to call you back, but I cannot talk right now. I'm literally in the ER. I know that sounds insane, but they will respect you a million times more because of it. All right. So understanding that. And then really practice talking to people. Talk to friends and family. Say, hey, do you mind if I practice? You know how people like practice before plays with somebody? They'll like read over lines just to make sure. You're the same thing. Eventually you will get to the point where you have most of your script memorized, and then you just have some bullet points to make sure that you don't forget if the conversation like goes off track or anything. That's kind of how I do my live notes, is I prep as if I were to go on my tangents, which I tend to do on my like random things and side stories, I'm able to bring myself back because I have some bullet points that keep to make sure that I cover everything I want to cover. Your first impression will matter though. So the very first, we did this remember at the retreat, ladies, we did this. We had you come up with your introduction. That first introduction is either going to get them to talk to you more or to hang up on you. So understanding that your first impressions matter. The other thing is focus on open-ended questions, okay, that create more of a dialogue. So don't say, do you want to sell? Yes or no, right? You want them to be able to say, like, why do you want to sell? Why are we on the phone? Basically, you're not going to say that, but you're like, why do you want to sell? Which is your way of finding out, why are we on the phone? Why are you interested in selling? You want their questions to be long and not as short one answer. That means they're probably not that interested. And it comes down to you didn't build enough of a connection. The goal is that you listen more than you speak. So you're going to listen to them. You're going to take notes. They're going to say things that actually mean something else. and you need to be able to read between the lines, okay? The other thing is you need to follow up. A lot of people don't realize that 90% of the deals come from following up, okay? Come from following up, especially if you are doing cold leads, meaning that they don't even know they want to sell yet. So, not like MLS for sale by owner or things like that. I'm talking probates, vacant second homes, divorce. A lot of them may not know. So, when you know that, you can plan for that and you'll know most likely I will have to follow up. They didn't even realize they wanted to sell, right? Okay. Keep in mind, I see a lot of you commenting. Our raffle of the day, which I'll announce here soon, you have to comment, and we take every entry as its own entry, every comment as its own entry, and we'll call the raffle here at the end, and I'll tell my team to pull it so it gives you time to comment if you haven't. This is just to spark interaction and also be able to see what's landing with you all so that I can tailor. Because my lives, yes, I have bullet points, but they're tailored to what I feel you need and what I'm seeing in the group the week of leading up to it with all the content going out. So if I see comments like I have fears of this and that, I actually tailor my lives around that to make sure that I cover what you need. So if you're in the Facebook group, and if you're not, if you're on my YouTube or anything, keep in mind that in the Facebook group, you can go in and comment throughout the week, and I try to cover everything that I need to make sure you're taken care of. All right, going back. The next thing is you're on the phone, you're having these conversations. Once you get off, you need to celebrate every win you've done. So in my student group, we actually give out raffles for people who put hashtag win in their posts. And it goes from big to small. It doesn't matter what the win is, but it's to show that every little step, every call that you make, every time you get hung up on, some people will be like, this is my first time I got hung up on, hashtag win, right? What it does is you celebrate it every time you have to schedule a follow up. That means that it was a good enough conversations that they want to talk to you again most times. Maybe they were trying to get you off the phone. There's ways to get around that. It's in the script. This also means anytime you had a good conversation, anytime you had a bad conversation, when you know that you're going to get cussed out at least once in your cold calling career, we make a game out of it. My team will share exactly what was said or things, or my students will in the group. And they do this just to make it light, because a lot of them, it's really hard to it's really hard for them to constantly get rejected. We're women, it's hard, and especially to get yelled at. So they'll share it in the group, and then we kind of lighten up the mood with it. And, this is normal, this is okay. And that's the benefit of a community, is you're able to share that instead of sitting and wondering if you're making this worse. Okay. Love it. I'm reading all your questions. Okay. The other thing is every call you make adds up. And I've said this before, but every call you make, we're talking about celebrating wins, adds up. Every call you do is going to help you overcome the fear of calling. If you're not scared of calling, it's going to build your confidence. Now, some people are like, well, I've been calling and I'm not landing anything. And then I have to tell my students, well, let me look at what you're doing, because depending on what you're doing, what skip tracing service you're using, because it's different for every part of the country, which is, I know, very frustrating. What types of lists are you pulling, things like that, that really does matter. So we have to look at it. I tell my students all the time, I'm going to have to rip apart what you're doing, put it back together so it performs better. That's why you hired us. But that's kind of the reason of it, is you have to see there's a lot of variables in a successful real estate deal. I was dealing with a student who's frustrated because she's like, I have not been doing a deal yet. And I said, well, what are you doing? Because there's a lot of variables into you're not doing a deal. And we had to go through it, and I had to nitpick and rip it apart. And this, no, why are you doing that? Well, I heard from someone. Nope, don't listen to anyone else. Let's go through this. So if you're not doing a deal, there's a variable in there, and it could be something small. I tell my students, it could be a tweak. I was talking about this on the Tuesday public call, or the Tuesday call that I also invited the masterclass ladies to. I was like, it could be a small tweak. Sometimes it's just something small, but I won't know until I get in there. And so understanding that and tweaking it as you go until you have like the best script, the best introduction, the best way of talking. The other thing I want to say is the way you approach every single demographic is very different. So, for example, the way I call, hey, Adrian, it's been a while. The way I call one seller in St. Louis is very different than how I'd call sellers in St. Pete, which was very different than how I called sellers in New York City. The demographic is different. So you have to understand your demographic so that you have more success in your cold calling endeavors. And then my last thing I want to say is that with everything going on, with the holidays, most people step back. And I'm sure even some of you are like, well, let me wait till the end of the year or to the beginning of the year. I'll start then. No, no, no. Start now. Like I said in the beginning, what you do now is going to come to fruition the beginning of 2025. And most people step back now because they're busy, because it's the holidays, or because they think that they can't do deals. So the competition actually lessens right now, right? So they lessen. There's not as strong as a competition, but you know the people who are staying in, the investors who know better. So I'm giving you guys a tip here because a lot are counting on you to get out. The investors who know better are starting right now. And yes, there are going to be people that say, can you reach out to me after the holidays? Totally fine. But there are going to be other people who are coming up on like foreclosures and things like that, or they're just tired. It's been listed. They were hoping to close by the end of the year. It hasn't closed yet. And some of that. And it's just something that I see all the time, and it's the time to get in. I had another one of my coaches go in sharing that he has 2 deals under contract. There are people trying to get things under by year's end. They're trying to get things closed for tax purposes. This is the best time to do it. So I wanted to do that. Team, if you can go ahead and call raffle. One of the things, though, that I do want to say, this year sucked. It did. It did. We're getting out of 2024. 2024, even for me who had a pretty decent year, was a lot harder than 2023's year. But 2025 is set to be beautiful. It really is. There are a lot of things in the works that you guys will see as you get more and more into the real estate game. Your eyes will be open to a lot of things. It's going to be a good year. So, team is going to call raffle. Tuesday, I have a workshop called Meeting of the Minds. So you're going to meet with me and Laura. It's not like a coaching workshop where we're just going to coach. It's called Meeting of the Minds. We're going to be meeting. It's going to be a mastermind where we're going to talk. We're going to interact. We're going to talk to you guys. We're going to help you through things. This is called a Meeting of the Minds. It's Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. I think the date is the 17th, pulling up my calendar. The 17th at 8 p.m. Eastern. My team will put the link in the chat. And yeah, this year sucks, so people want to sell their house. Exactly. I'm reading the comments. So that is something too that will we can help set you up. This will be the last event of the year because then we go into the holidays. So this will be the last event of the year. But yes, 2025 is going to be fantastic. We have a lot of things in the works. I see a lot of my students gearing up. They have things going on. There we go. I was like, ladies, I need the raffle. Thank you, Julie. So I have a lot of things going on, a lot of exciting stuff coming in. I do plan to share it with my students. They're going to follow me through. One of the things that I like to do is when I'm new to something, I show my students that I'm new at it. So a lot of other people will act like they know. And this is same with the call. So I want you to apply this to cold calling. Don't act like you know it. That is the worst because people can see right through you. Instead, say, I don't know. I'll get back to you. And you go talk to your business partner. Say, I'll talk to my business partner. They have a little bit of more, I'd say they have a little bit more experience. Your business partners are me and Laura, by the way, if you're students. So one of the things that I do is even this, I am allowed to show people that I'm new to get you comfortable with being new. So Laura and I, she's finally convinced me to get into fix and flip. I've stayed in wholesaling just because I genuinely love the low risk. I genuinely love low liability. You know, I just didn't want to get into fix and flip, especially since like 2020, fix and flip and rentals has been a little weird for me. But I realized that was fear, right? And I knew that. So what I did was like, I'm going to fix and flip. And Laura's going to guide me through it. And I'm going to show you, because for those of you who do not know, I solely wholesale. Okay. So I've been wholesaling for a very, very long time. So as when it comes to sellers, the same thing needs to apply to you. You have to say, you don't have to tell them you're brand new. Okay. But you will say, I don't know the answer to this. And I don't want to lie to you just to give you an answer. So let me talk to my business partner. And when I call you back at 5 p.m. Eastern, I will have all these answers for you. Isn't that right? Isn't that great? And then they at least trust you because you're not willing to lie to them just to give them an answer and sound like you know it all. Okay? All right. So I hope that this was helpful. I would love to know your takeaways. I try to keep these pretty short. We do lives every Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern. Now, with the holidays coming up, I think Christmas week, we are not doing a live. I think because that Thursday, our office is closed. But other than that, we're live every Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern right here where you're watching. So our raffle is you'll get a cold calling headset. So it's just like a headset with a microphone, a holiday spa kit, and a holiday stress ball. Oh, let me pull it up. Wait, I have it. Yeah, I'm excited. Okay. Okay, let me see if I can get this not looking weird. Nope, I don't want me on there. Nope. Anyway, I'm trying to figure this out. Okay, we're going to stick with that. So you'll get a cold calling headset so you can make calls on the go or while you're at your computer and you're not having to physically hold your phone. You're going to have this little, like these little snowman squishy stress balls. Cold calling, even for the most experienced, is still nerve-wracking sometimes. So it's nice to have those. And then you're going to have this little holiday spa kit. How you're going to claim this is you're going to email in to questions@realestateinvestingwomen.com if you are the winner, and we will get this shipped out to you immediately as soon as we receive it. And we just wanted to make it Christmas themed because, as you can tell, I love Christmas. And so we wanted to make it Christmas themed. How do you enter? You just comment throughout the lives that we do. We take anyone who commented, we call their name, and that's that. So our winner is Wendy. Wendy, I already have a box heading to you. Literally, I'm putting the box together today to get to you of all the student stuff since they all finally came in. So, because she won the student raffle. So, congratulations, Wendy. It must be your month. So that you're able to do that. Now, I saw a question from you, Shelly. The Meeting of the Minds happens every once in a while. So it's not every week. It's just this upcoming Tuesday. Oh, people are sending me like what you guys are commenting on other stuff. So yeah, so congratulations. Okay. All right. Any questions about cold calling that you have before I hop off? Maybe it's a fear that you have. I can help you address any fears or things like that. Anything about what I've covered, maybe you need some clarification on. Anything like that where I can help you. Let's see. Gonna give it a second. Totally had no idea you guys ladies were out there. Yeah, we eventually show up in people's lives. Unfortunately, it's usually after they got burnt by someone else, but every once in a while we'll be like the first point of contact and they're like, "I'm so glad I found you." Fear of a yes from the seller. This is actually pretty common. So, where most people are like, "I fear that I'll get hung up on or deals." What if they say yes? I'm going to share my very first deal. So, my very first deal I was on when I got it was I was on a hop on, hop off bus in San Francisco. And the seller said yes, and they had signed the contract. And I got received the notification that they had signed the contract. So they didn't say yes while I was on the bus, but I had sent the contract. We had talked, and I got the notification once I was on the bus that they had signed. And I freaked out. I froze. Despite knowing what to do, I had frozen. So I will tell you that this is very normal. The one thing is if you keep notes, you'll be able to go back even when you're forgetting or you're stressed and you have like this checklist of things to do. Yes is the best thing you can hear, especially as you get more and more experience. It's the best thing you can hear. I get excited for yeses because normally, especially if you're cold calling those more long nurture leads that we've been talking about, it takes a while, right? It takes a while to get through them. And finally, you get a yes, and it's exciting. Okay. So understanding that you can still close for December. Yes, you can. You can close all the way up till December 31st. And so be more fearful of never getting a yes, which it's not gonna happen if you do it right. But what I'm saying is this is a normal fear of not knowing what to do. So I'm reading her follow-up, fear of not knowing what to do, even though I sort of do, and if not the title company. Exactly. Like title companies, mentors, they will all help you get through it, what to do. Because there's going to be a million different situations once you get the yes that it could go. No deal ever goes the same. It's never perfectly aligned. Okay. So it is something that you will have to navigate as you go through, but there are plenty of people and support out there that can help you get through that so that you're able to move forward. Where should I be logging information on the lead? So for the first few years, I did an Excel spreadsheet and I had different tabs. I provided the basic one to the students, ladies that are who are students. Um, so I do that now. I have a CRM where I log it. It's called Podio, Podio. It's not the most, you have to build it out to match you, but they do have now for free, you can download real estate kits, which are really helpful to use as well. So I logged it there, but for years I used good old Excel spreadsheets. Um, I like that. Keep emotions to a journal to document how you react to things. You will get better at that as well. You will have at least one deal complete. Okay. All right, ladies. Well, I hope that this was helpful that you have a wonderful day. I will see you next Thursday. But if you have any other questions or anything like that, you can definitely comment below. Otherwise, I hope you have a wonderful day. I'm going to jump off here because I have another appointment and I've been on appointments all day. But I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you later. I hope that this was helpful. Don't forget to grab that PDF so you can get the script.